Hi, my name is Sylvia. I'm passionate about languages, English in particular. Welcome to my world of English. First time ever meeting Marta, one of our teachers. This episode is truly practical and valuable for any student who would like to study English from films. It is a very popular method nowadays with many streaming services offering films in English. You will get the answer to the question what films to choose, what kind of subtitles to choose, whether they shall be in Polish or in English, and how much you can learn from it. Because I guess you will be surprised with the variety of linguistic advantages that are there for you when you are watching a film with subtitles. Hope you will enjoy it greatly and you will improve your learning methods in between your actual classes of English. Hi, Marta.
Hi, hello.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Yeah,
it's nice to have you here in Krakow.
Yes, we have come to Krakow and we have traveled here. Lovely city, lovely experience, and nice to see you because it's the first time for us, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, definitely.
we've never met like that before, but it's great pleasure for me because I love people. I love people that I work with. That is you and other members of our staff, and I love talking to them, both in class and in such meetings. It's just a great thing. We have invited you today to talk a little bit about the expertise that you have, or the area that you mastered as a student, as a teacher. And I think it will be very valuable for our students to find out how to learn the language, because that's a question that pops up many times every time. How to learn English in this respect, but I think it applies to any language, but how to learn English from movies, right? And will you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, definitely. So there has been a lot of studies conducted so far with both professionals, professor, who try to facilitate language learning by introducing, for example, learning from movies, as well as with students who also tried using those tools. And they discuss different aspects of learning from watching movies. And it is absolutely fascinating how much we can learn in that way and how authentic experience that is. Because, of course, language is culturally based.
Yeah.
So whenever we watch a movie, not only do we learn the language, but we also learn a little bit about the culture,
and the context.
And the context, sure. And the cultural context and the whole background, of course.
So we have 3 C's, culture, context, and cultural context.
Yeah, definitely. But also what's important is, especially that when we learn from movies while watching movies, so what's special is that those movies are usually very up-to-date. So the language is also something that we can use to be better, to gain some confidence when it comes to casual conversations, because that's the language we experience while watching movies. And it's absolutely a great thing to learn through watching movies. And
this is what our students can do in between the classes.
Yeah, definitely. So first of all, they can watch something they enjoy, because many of us, I think these days, we love Netflix, watching movies or watching series.
For the brand name,
yeah. I binge watch series, so of course, I think anyone enjoys that. And we can choose the genre we like. We enjoy, we can relax, but at the same time, we can also learn a little bit. And what's really nice is that, of course, we've got this visual aspect. So it's sometimes, even if it's difficult for us to follow the conversation, we can see what's happening on the screen, and therefore it's simply...
the brain will help us. We will understand that. We'll build a picture. So I mentioned the radio because I'm a true fan of the radio and podcasting. So the radio doesn't give us this, but it, of course, helps us because it masters other skills and other qualities.
Definitely.
But with the movie, we have both the language and the picture.
Yeah.
And what about the captions? Yes. What about the subtitles? Many people ask us this question. Shall I watch it in Polish? Shall I watch it in English? What would you say?
Yeah. So there are many techniques actually based on this study conducted among people who tried to learn from watching movies. Some of them, of course, many of them talked about the oral aspect, that they speak better, that they develop their listening skills. But there were also the ones who actually said that it facilitated their writing skills. Because, for example, they were watching the movies with captions, with subtitles. And sometimes they would just pause the movie for a second. take a look, and they could learn new vocabulary. They could focus on spelling,
Yes.
and they could also learn about the structure of the language. So it can also facilitate our writing skills, and this is absolutely fascinating for me. Of course, we can watch it without subtitles and try to listen. There are various techniques. So we can, for example, try to stop, pause for a second, and repeat the sentence we hear. To be honest, that's what I did when I was learning Spanish. Very often watching Spanish series, which I really enjoy, I would sometimes, whenever I heard a phrase I really enjoyed, I would just repeat it out loud, and that's what.
But without looking at the subtitle,
without
just
looking.
just through hearing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. And I would also try to enjoy it while repeating it because I simply liked it. And that's what professionals say. Researchers admit that it's really nice to just interact with the movie as well. So of course we can just watch it with another person, but we can also do all those different things like pausing for a second, repeating, even going back, backwards, forwards. And when it comes to also subtitling, it is also recommended that maybe for the first time, we just watch the movie without subtitles. If there is something we do not understand, we can just pause, go back, and watch it with captions. And then try to rewatch the scene at particular
But still,
moment.
when you introduce the expression, the subtitle, you mean the subtitle of the language in which we are watching the movie.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
and what about Polish subtitles? What would you say here? I receive such questions, and it's lovely. I've got this opportunity to talk to you because you will enlighten us on the matter. What would you say?
So I think it's a little bit tricky because first of all, we know that when we need to work with subtitling or voiceover, we really need to adjust it because there are so many restrictions. So whenever we produce subtitling, it is not 100% the same thing that the characters are saying. So we need to change it. We need to change the structure sometimes.
Yes.
Sometimes we need to cut it a lot, and it's much different from what the characters are saying.
And I will bring here the example of Shrek, the movie, which is fantastically translated into Polish. But I do believe, into Polish. But I do believe that it has very little in common with the original version because it is set in the Polish context with the great actors, right, who were the voiceover, and in just referring to Polish movies. So something the characters, the true characters in the original version never said.
Yeah.
So can we say it? If we get if we get this question as teachers, we would rather try to tell students to watch it in the English subtitle rather than in Polish.
Definitely, that's what I would recommend. That I would go for that one, for that choice, because like you said, sometimes it's tricky. First of all, we need to adjust the subtitling to cultural context so that our target viewers can actually understand what's happening. And of course, in movies like comedies, like rom-coms, it's really important. The function is the most important. So it needs to make us laugh. And therefore, subtitling has to sometimes change and adjust
and also
to
even I would say the titles of the movies. That's a tricky thing because the title of a movie is sometimes in Polish. It's a completely different thing. So sometimes I can ask somebody have you watched that and use the Polish title, and people say no, never. I've never heard what movie, and then we give the English one, and we see that that's the same thing. So that's a very very important, very significant remark. Yes, that we can. And those of us who are watching us right now, they would know that what we recommend is rather first starting without the subtitles, and then if we are at a loss, we can just start the subtitles and look at what is written there. And what about the length of the movie? Because what I have heard is that, well, of course, you can watch a film that lasts 3 hours if we want to. We have that much time. But we know the language likes the little chunks, right? So especially when we are beginning, not even we are beginners of in studying, but we begin, let's say, this work with the language through movies and through subtitles. That it's better to show the brain little pieces, let's say 10 minutes,
chunks,
15 little chunks. Would you also agree that it works this way?
So there are two aspects that we need to consider. First of all, if we are rather beginning our journey here, we need to think about the genre of the movie. It's much easier, for example, for us to follow, I don't know, rom-coms, or drama movies, which are more set in more natural context. So it will be quite difficult if we decide to watch like serious,
historical,
for example, historical movie, or if we decide to go for science fiction when there's going to be a lot of terms we like do not recognize. So
Also
definitely
very significant
that's
remark,
So that's the first thing we need to focus on. And second of all, the length of the movie. Yeah. So especially if we try to be more interactive. When we watch the movie. So we, for example, like try to pause, try to rewind, or try to repeat some phrases, or even when we watch with someone and we try to interact a little bit and talk about the vocab, then the movie cannot be too long because we will simply get tired. So yes, it's much better maybe to start with some TV series or like series, which the
Friends,
episode,
it's repeated all the time.
So like the episodes are short, like 20 minutes long, and then it will be much easier for us to get into
into the subject. I know that Netflix offers, again, the brand name. Netflix offers this thing, right? That there can be some extra applications installed, which will help you, with the subtitles. And do you know any other maybe applications or any other thing that is there for us that students can download or they can work with? Because I always refer it to podcasts, right? For instance, so you can listen it through any application that you have that can be applied to listening podcasts, and also there are those transcripts very often both in Polish and English. So this is something that helps. Do you think there is anything like that with subtitles?
I think there is something like. I'm not sure if that's how we pronounce, but it's Fluent U or Fluent 2. So I'm not 100% sure, but they try to facilitate language learning by using chunks of movies. So you can see a very short piece of it, like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes long, and you can watch the characters using particular phrases. You can see, of course, the captions, and you can see it in action in a way. So you've got the visuals
in context.
And in context. So you see how characters use it, in what situation, how they react, how they respond to it, and it's also something we can start with. And did you do it yourself when you were studying? You mentioned Spanish, so we know that you speak Spanish. Do you speak any other languages like English and Spanish? Is there French? Do I remember? No. I speak language. I speak English, Spanish, but I'm learning Dutch right now. But it's just the beginning of my journey.
All right. So I'm sure you use any of the techniques, right, that you know as a teacher. You apply that there. But did you watch it? Did you watch films like that? Did you use it yourself when you were studying? Either English or Spanish. You mentioned Spanish.
Yeah, definitely Spanish. Yeah. So when
I heard that very often. I have heard that very often, that through Spanish, because there are a lot of series there, right?
Yeah.
So Spanish is a perfect thing because we've got those dramas there, and
a lot happening.
Yes, and a lot of the language that is there, and you can learn through it. So Spanish is a perfect example. Yeah. But did you do it with English?
Did I do it with English? Maybe in a different way, because Spanish for me was more like starting to learn, so it was a different journey. So that's what I would do. Like I told you that some experts recommend, for example, if you like some phrase, just repeat it out loud. Don't be scared to do it. That's what I would do with Spanish. When I liked something, I would just like scream it, just repeat. But when it comes to English, it was more when I could already watch English movies, and I would only start watching it without subtitling, without captions, even without English captions. Or maybe to develop, because I like series which are around like topics of law or medicine. So maybe that.
The Suits, that's the thing that is there. Everybody, people love it, and they are right to love it, because the language, it's a great example, like or Grey's Anatomy.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's the thing. People love it because there is a storyline, but the language is just great there. Yes. So you did that. What I did, and can I come back to you being a little girl? What I did was watching cartoons. There were no subtitles, but for a child, that was absolutely fantastic, and I'm not ashamed of it. I would say people would expect us to do something more sophisticated, but with the language, you see, sometimes the simplest recipes are the best ones. Yeah. So there was nothing that much of sophistication. I was a little girl watching cartoons, and I remember how I learned the word, and this just proves what you said, this context that is there, the base that is there. So I watched, this is how I learned the word tax. Because I remember there was this ugly guy, traveling on a horse and visiting different houses, and people would give him the coin, and I said, tax, that's something we don't like, that's something we don't like. And then I learned without translation, so I somehow, is it also true, would you say that it builds this emotion? Because I somehow built my emotion around the word tax, that it's negative, it's not nice, it's not something we like.
Yeah, definitely, because the word is set in a context, yeah?
Yeah.
So you then associate with it. Sometimes it's like, for example, I don't know if it ever happened to you, but you think about the word, or you try to explain the word to someone, and you remember the song, yeah?
Yes,
in which you heard
feeling.
it, and you put it in the context, you try to hum it, yeah? And that's how you try to explain it, or maybe show someone that's the meaning, or that's where you may have heard it, yeah? So the same we do with movies. We can see the scene, the exact scene, especially if it's easier for us to remember the things we see in front of us. Then it really helps. And also another tip, because you said about cartoons, that's how you learned. So this is another tip for people who are just starting their learning through watching movies. It's really nice to start with animation movies, for example.
Why? Why would you say
because the
animation?
language is
okay,
adjusted to the level of the younger
yes,
audience.
Of course.
Yeah?
So that wouldn't be very sophisticated.
So it's less complicated, of course, and then we can understand it easier.
Yeah. But then we have to push adults to start watching cartoons. But it can be anything, I think, like comic strips or something. So again, we have to tell them that you may be very much educated, which we appreciate, but when it comes to studying the language, we are in primary school, so we have to use these techniques from primary school. But that's something I wasn't aware of, or I didn't think about, that indeed it is all about the colors, all about the emotions, and all about also the structure of the language. It's just simpler. Do you sometimes bring these examples into your classroom?
There are even for now, I was using this TV series, which was actually created by BBC. Yeah, and for example, it is
keeping up appearances. I don't know if you have ever watched that, but yeah, that's what I. So we use that these examples of the Suits and Grey's Anatomy and keeping up appearances. So there are those lovely examples serving completely different purposes. Yes, so the Suits is for the legal language, right? The Grey's Anatomy for medical, and keeping up appearances is totally British. Yeah, but I interrupted. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So just this series is actually a little bit different because it was designed, created especially for language learners. So the episodes, there's 15 episodes. Each episode is 5 minutes long, and of course you get this transcript. And after watching, you get also questions. Yeah, so you can check what you understood. There is also special vocabulary, and it's really nice because you can start start your journey here. But also there is another series which I used when I was learning Spanish, for example, but I think it's in all of the possible languages. Yeah, but right now I cannot remember the name. I would think it was similar to Friends. Yeah, so the idea is that you are in one apartment, everything happens in one place, but the vocabulary is also adjusted to language learners. So they try to repeat oven. We're cooking, we're baking in the oven, but it actually helps because you can see it and you can put it together with the words they use.
It facilitates the learning process. What about YouTube? YouTube is there. We have a lot of clips, movies, videos. We can have the subtitles, but oftentimes they are made by machines. They are automatic.
Yeah, I remember even when I studied during one of the classes, we were discussing how it is translated automatically, and sometimes the subtitles are just ridiculous, So the crazy things happen there. But yeah, we can use it, and I think this I told you about Fluent You. I think it's also on YouTube, and I would also recommend TED Talks. You can watch it, and it's really 10-minute long, 15-minute long, that the topics are absolutely interesting and fascinating. Everyone can find something for himself, herself. So that's also a way to do it, to learn it.
And just to sum up a little bit what you said is that would you say that because many people think that when they watch films, they actually learn how to speak, but you would also say that they learn to listen, so they practice this skill, and they also learn to write.
Yeah, which is funny, but yeah, that's what some of the people who are actually using the technique said. So definitely pronunciation gets much better.
Yeah.
Listening skills, of course, we develop listening skills, but also if we work with subtitles and if we practice it in such a way that we, for example, pause for a second, then we can also study the grammar, the construction, and also spelling. Yeah, we just see it and we remember better.
So that's all the greatness that is there waiting.
It gives us everything. Actually,
that is there for us, for everybody. And so I hope all the listeners, all the learners who have watched this this interview, this talk that we had, they would take something for themselves, and they will finally know how to use these subtitles and how to learn through them. Marta, thank you so much.
Thank you
for being here with me, with us, and once again, right? So see you at work, because we are coming back to our regular routines. Thank you so
definitely.
much.
Thank you too.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.